Welcome back to the Deep Dive, the place where we take the sources you share with us and distill them into, well, pure, high-impact knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
If you're joining us, you're probably looking for that operating manual to success.
That missing link.
Exactly, that missing link between knowing what you're supposed to do and then, actually doing it.
And if that's you, then you really need to prepare for a major paradigm shift today.
Okay.
We're diving deep into some foundational teachings, specifically those crystallized by figures like Bob Proctor and Earl Nightingale.
Legends in the field.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And see, most people operate under the belief that success is about external strategy.
The perfect business plan, the right connections.
The detailed tactical map, all of it.
That sounds logical, right? I mean, we're taught to focus on the external steps. We spend all our time on the how.
We do. But our sources, they introduce this really startling concept.
Go on.
They call it the 95% rule. And the claim is, well, it's profoundly counterintuitive. It says success is 95% mindset.
95.
95.
Yeah.
And only a meager 5% strategy.
Wow. Think about that ratio.
Right. So our mission today is to really analyze the architecture of that monumental 95%, that hidden internal program that, whether you like it or not, is currently dictating your life and your results.
So if you're stuck in a rut, if you keep trying new things, but you just keep reverting back to old habits, the problem isn't your 5-year plan, it's the internal software.
Precisely. If you want different results, the solution is not to double down on that 5%.
That's just grinding harder.
You're just grinding harder against a fundamental internal limitation. You have to focus entirely on reprogramming the 95%.
Okay, let's start with the problem itself. Why do we constantly feel like we are, extras in our own movie? We make a conscious choice, let's say to save money or start exercising.
A good intention.
A great intention. But 2 weeks later, the old habit is right back in control.
That takes us straight to the paradigm. We need a clear, accessible definition here. The paradigm is a sophisticated, let's call it a mental program. It lives in your subconscious mind.
The emotional mind.
The emotional mind, exactly. And crucially, this program has almost exclusive control over your habitual behavior.
Wait, if almost all human activity, getting up, how you handle stress, how you react to money, if that's all habitual,
it is.
Then the paradigm is truly the supreme ruler of our lives.
It is. It dictates your results regardless of how brilliant your conscious plan is. And here is the core takeaway for you, the listener.
Yeah.
If you look at your current life, your bank balance, your relationships, your health, you are looking at a perfect physical expression of the paradigm that is running in your subconscious right now.
So the body just expresses what the mind tells it to.
It's just an instrument.
Wow. So the system is rigged against conscious effort unless we change that root setting.
Right.
Let's use that famous analogy the sources rely on to make this concrete. The ship.
Yes, the ship. Imagine your life is a massive, powerful ship navigating the ocean. You, in your conscious mind, you're the crew. And you're desperately trying to steer the wheel towards your goal. Let's call it Prosperity Island.
That's the 5% strategy.
That's the 5%. But the paradigm, that is the ship's autopilot system.
And that autopilot was programmed a long, long time ago.
Usually by external influences, parents, teachers, media, before we even had the intellectual tools to question it.
So it's a set of pre-programmed coordinates.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And no matter how enthusiastically the crew turns the wheel, the autopilot, which is just far more powerful and habitual.
It just gently, persistently steers the ship right back.
Right back to its original preset familiar course. You might deviate for a few days, maybe a week, but you always return home to your comfort zone.
So success isn't about working harder on the wheel.
Not at all. It's about getting into the computer and changing the coordinates themselves.
That clarifies the problem beautifully. So the challenge is this invisible, powerful force, the paradigm, is running the show. So how do we hack the computer? What are the levers we possess to access and reprogram those internal coordinates?
Well, we hack it by using the tools that separate us from the rest of the animal kingdom.
Okay.
Animals operate purely by, perfect instinct. A bird doesn't need a strategy book to build a nest.
Right.
Humans, however, possess the 6 higher faculties.
Yeah.
These are your intellectual tools. They reside in your conscious mind. And if you're unaware of them,
then what?
You're basically living on instinct, just like an animal, just reacting to every external stimulus.
That's a powerful distinction. We aren't meant to just float. We are meant to direct.
Exactly.
So what are these 6 intellectual superpowers we are supposed to be using?
They are imagination, intuition, perception, the will, memory, and reason.
Okay.
These faculties are the mechanisms you must use consciously to, say, to the paradigm, get out of town, as the sources put it, and build a completely new mental program.
I appreciate that the sources provide a specific, actionable mechanism here. These aren't just abstract ideas. They're the tools of an internal revolution.
That's a great way to put it.
And among them, there's one that acts as the initial energy source, right? The catalyst for change.
Yes, the will.
The will.
The will is the foundation. It provides the focus and the determination to hold an image of a new goal, often against all the overwhelming evidence from your senses.
What your current paradigm is telling you is possible.
Exactly. It's the sheer force of refusal to quit.
That reminds me of that famous story, the one about Wernher von Braun, when the question was posed about what it would take to send a man to the moon and bring him back safely.
Yeah.
An impossible goal at the time.
Right. Impossible. And his answer wasn't some 50-page technical brief.
No.
It was simply the will to do it.
Just that.
Just that. The strategy, the engineering, the finances, all of that was secondary. The initial power came from the simple, unshakable will to choose that destination.
That force has to come before the strategy.
It must.
So if we go back to our river analogy, we're not a leaf floating wherever the current of habit takes us.
No, we're the captain.
We are the captain. And our higher faculties are the steering wheel and the compass, allowing us to choose a destination that might require us to sail directly against the current of our established patterns.
It is the ultimate expression of human freedom. The ability to choose a thought despite the circumstances.
Okay, so once we've chosen the direction using our will and imagination, we need power. We need to activate the engine of creation.
Yes.
This leads us to the role of emotion, defined by the attitude equation, a three-part sequence that dictates what we attract.
The attitude equation is the link between your internal world and your external results. It's a composite of your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions.
In that specific order.
Always in that 1, 2, 3 sequence. It begins with thoughts which are chosen consciously.
And what about the source of those thoughts? The sources often suggest our greatest desires aren't just, random fantasies.
That's where the idea of the divine side comes in. The masters suggest that your true wants, the deep desires for expansion, for growth, for a better life, they originate from a part of you that's connected to infinite potential.
So they're like prompts.
They are constantly jabbing your consciousness, prompting you toward fuller expression. So if you have the desire, it's a sign that the expansion is possible for you.
But a thought alone isn't enough to change the paradigm. This leads to the powerful second step, feelings.
This is where the 95% is activated.
Okay.
Absolutely essential. A thought just remains fleeting until it is impressed upon the subconscious through emotional involvement. Your feelings are the language of the subconscious mind.
So if you attach emotion to a thought, you're essentially programming the paradigm.
You are. If you feel bad, if you're anxious or depressed or fearful, the sources are adamant. You are currently entertaining negative thoughts and attaching emotion to them.
And conversely, feeling good about a goal means you've successfully impressed the positive image.
Yes. This emotional involvement, this feeling, dictates your physical vibration. Which brings us to step 3. Actions. The physical result.
Right.
Your feelings are expressed through your body. That dictates your behavior and your physical attraction. This is where the concept of the universe steps in.
How so?
The subconscious mind is defined as universal intelligence. It's omnipresent, containing all the necessary knowledge, power, and resources for your goal.
So how does this internal vibration translate into external resources? I mean, if I'm sitting here in London and I want to achieve a goal that needs partners in Tokyo, how does my feeling put me in alignment with them?
Think of it like a radio signal or a long-distance telephone call.
Okay.
When you impress a thought emotionally, you put yourself on the exact frequency as your goal. The distance between London and Tokyo, or between you and your desire, is an illusion.
So by maintaining that frequency,
You tap into that universal intelligence, drawing exactly what you need, the right people, ideas, circumstances, into your physical experience.
that's highly viral content right there. The universe is a massive information network, and emotion is our dialing pad.
It is the key to synchronicity. And this process is governed by fundamental laws, specifically the law of perpetual transmutation of energy.
Okay, what does that mean in simple terms?
It just states that energy, which is what your thought is, can't be destroyed. It must constantly move into physical form. Look at the invisible vapor in the atmosphere. It condenses into clouds.
And those clouds have to eventually become rain.
They must eventually become physical rain. Your idea, once you infuse it with emotion, operates under the same undeniable law.
So the goal isn't just about thinking positive thoughts. It's about holding a frequency that eventually forces the physical world to match the mental blueprint.
Precisely.
That leads us directly to the most powerful way to choose that frequency: goal categorization. We established that strategy-heavy goals often fail because they stay within the comfort zone.
Right. They lack the potential for true growth. And if you aren't growing, you're staying put. And staying put is ultimately a kind of failure.
So the sources categorize goals into 3 types.
3 types. And only one of them results in a true paradigm shift.
Let's define the first 2, the safe zones.
Okay, first we have the A-type goal. This is what you already know how to do.
So replacing my old car with the exact same model, just newer?
Perfect example. That requires 0 growth, 0 mindset shift.
And the second type, the B-type goal, sounds a little more ambitious but still flawed.
It is. The B-type goal is what you think you can do based on your current circumstances.
Like, I'd like to increase my income by 10% next year, provided the economy stays stable.
Exactly. It relies on external factors. And they fail because they lack that emotional urgency, that growth requirement. They don't force you to use your higher faculties.
So if those 2 rely on the 5%, the strategy and circumstance, the powerful goal, the one that leverages the 95% mindset shift, has to be the C-type goal.
Absolutely. The C-type goal is what you truly want, that desire that came from your divine side, but you have absolutely no idea how to achieve it yet.
It has to be so far beyond your current logic.
That achieving it requires changing the paradigm itself. Goals are for growth, and this type of goal forces it.
That sounds terrifying for a lot of people, just leaping into the unknown like that.
It is.
How do we make that leap?
We use the 3-step creative process: fantasy, theory, and fact.
Okay, a blueprint.
It's your blueprint for turning the impossible into the inevitable. Step 1 is fantasy.
Fantasy.
Here, you use your imagination, your highest intellectual tool, to build the mental picture of that C-type goal. You completely ignore all external evidence, all logic, all circumstances. You just spend time painting the mental picture of the result.
Living as if it's already true. It's pure, unadulterated dreaming.
Yes. Then, the next step, theory, is where we introduce reason to make it real.
Okay.
Step 2 is theory. You use your reason to turn that vivid fantasy into a committed theory, your goal. And to bridge that gap, you have to pass 2 crucial internal tests.
This is where most people quit.
This is it. The first test is, am I able? You must consciously choose the answer, yes. You have to recognize that you possess infinite power, that you're connected to universal intelligence, and that the inability is purely an illusion of the paradigm.
If the want exists, the ability exists.
You have to believe that. It requires a serious paradigm shift right there.
And the second test.
The second is, am I willing?
Willing to pay the price.
Exactly. You must commit to paying the emotional, physical, and financial price, and you must refuse to quit no matter what.
So once you affirm the ability and affirm the willingness,
the fantasy solidifies into a committed goal, a theory you are now testing with your life.
And finally, step 3 is fact. The idea moves from the non-physical realm into the physical.
By maintaining emotional involvement, by feeling good about your goal and resisting negative thoughts, that idea gets impressed upon universal intelligence. Your changed vibration begins to attract and necessitate the resources required.
And the goal, through that law of perpetual transmutation, moves into physical form.
It ceases to be an idea and becomes a fact in your life.
This sounds like a huge undertaking, demanding continuous, focused mental effort to override years of negative programming.
It is.
So if success is 95% mindset, what is the simple, practical, daily life hack the sources recommend to keep us focused on that 95%?
The absolute key is the goal card.
A goal card.
It is simplicity itself. You write out your C-type goal on a symbol card, stating it in the present tense as if it's already happened. You literally paint a picture with words.
And you carry it with you everywhere.
Everywhere.
Why is this physical act so powerful? Why not just recite it mentally?
Because the card acts as a profound sensory trigger. When you take the card out and you physically touch it, that action fires a message through your central nervous system.
And that sensory input?
It instantly activates the specific brain cells where the image of your goal is stored.
So instead of just talking about the amplitude of vibration, let's describe the effect for the listener. What does it feel like?
The effect is instantaneous alignment. When you read that card, the image of your goal flashes vividly onto the screen of your mind.
Okay.
And since the human mind cannot hold 2 contradictory thoughts, positive and negative at the same time, this immediate trigger prevents the old negative paradigm from getting a foothold in that crucial moment.
It forces you back onto the frequency of your desire.
It provides continuous alignment with the universal intelligence.
It's like the ultimate mental alarm clock, forcing you to choose the positive thought and therefore the positive frequency many, many times a day.
It shifts your reality, moment by moment, without needing hours of meditation. It keeps the captain focused on the destination, no matter how hard the current of the old paradigm pulls.
So if we step back and connect this deep dive to the larger picture, what stands out is just the sheer overwhelming power of the internal world.
Yes.
Our results are a direct physical reflection of the program running in our subconscious.
And you, the listener, possess the extraordinary tools, the 6 higher faculties, especially imagination, and the will to change that program entirely, that desire that pushes you toward expansion. It comes from the deepest, most powerful part of your personality. You are designed for growth.
This leaves us with a truly provocative thought. If you know now that the ability is already within you and the only real requirement is the will to do it, why are you still accepting A-type and B-type goals? Why are you still settling for less than your true desire?
The ultimate choice is yours. Stop being an extra in your own movie. Decide what kind of life you truly want, commit to it, and then the sources advise. Have the will to say no to everything that isn't that.
Become the director of your inevitable success.
That's it.
If this helps, follow Mindcode's podcast for more insight. If you like the content, please subscribe, share, like, comment, and hit the notification bell to stay updated with the latest videos on the channel.
We'll see you soon on the next episode of Mindcode's podcast.